Good morning everybody, bright and early day here at Torquay Golf Club. Now, you will have probably seen a video, if you haven't seen it, it's just going to be up here, that I did a course management video with Lee. And we went out onto the golf course, we played at Ashbury, we played 4 holes over there. If you haven't seen it, make sure you go and look at it. But there was a few questions that came up from the comments on that with regards to strokes gained, things like that. So what I thought we'd do is come out onto the golf course here and play another 3 or 4 holes, see what we can get in with Will, who is going to share with us some of his thoughts on how he plays, maybe thinking about strokes gained, maybe thinking about course management working from the green backwards, and let's see what sort of score Will can shoot. And because you just love early mornings, you're coming out with us for a bit of moral support.
And every day's a school day, so...
Every day is a school day, Bernie. Wilbur!
Hello.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning, morning, morning.
Morning, morning, morning.
So we're going to get you out on the golf course for 3 or 4 holes maybe.
Yep.
But I just want to have a little... I want to dig into that little brain of yours.
There's not much up there, but... it's a bit empty.
That's 1 hole then.
So we're going to have a little go with course management out here at Torquay. Now, you've played Torquay a number of times, but obviously there's different ways of playing different types of holes. We're going to try and get a par 5, a par 4 and a par 3 in and amongst the holes that we play. And we're going to try and get a bit of an idea on what you're thinking when you're playing these holes and how that might differ, and we can talk about this as we go round, how that might differ to how maybe Lee would play it as a higher handicap golfer. You're like a tour player now, so you're getting onto a tour. You're going to be playing golf slightly different to how Lee would play it, and also possibly how you would play it, and that's from a mental point of view as well, and the scars that you've kind of gone through. And maybe we'll sit down on the couch with you later on and chat about those scars.
Need more than a couch.
Right, par 5 to start us off with.
Yeah.
Now this is something that you kind of, it must be a go for it hole for you,
Definitely,
is it not?
Yeah, off the front tee it is.
Yeah.
But it's also a hole where you can get yourself in trouble because obviously there's water by the green, so if you're too far back, do you go for it, do you not? It's also a layup chance.
So really off the tee, whichever way you play this, in the summertime where it's running or in the wintertime now, is it always driver for you?
Always driver, yeah.
Always driver,
yeah.
because it's a hole that's kind of, it's pretty open all the way down this hole,
It plays so much different in the winter compared to summer because obviously it's downhill.
Yes.
You get a nice firm kick forwards and it'll kick to the left, so the fairway's actually a bit wider.
So the thought process is more about how Will is going to approach his second shot into the green. That's kind of what he's thinking. You can see there on the tee, he's already mentioned that he wants to think about what's going on down at the green, which there's water on the left. Maybe the green is slightly pitched, which we'll talk about when we get further on down there. But you can see the strategy already sort of playing in his mind as to how he's going to play this hole almost backwards. So shape a shot then, Will. What are you thinking down here?
So this hole here, I know my only danger is the second conifers on the left. It's pitching into that, so that's my only trouble on this hole.
Which is what, about 260? 270?
A bit further than that.
270, yeah.
270.
Yeah.
So realistically, I want to be left of that, so I'm going to try and probably start it left of it and try and draw it a little bit.
Try and draw it off it, okay.
Yeah, so
okay, wind is kind of off the right as well, so that's helping you a little bit.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect and pretty big down there, I think, isn't it, Bernie? Got that down. Great golf shot.
Yeah, great shot.
Just down the left-hand side, I'd say that's pretty good.
Just blocked out with all the trees, that's perfect.
But I'd also say this hole as well, it's easier to go for the green when you're down the left-hand side than the right-hand side because you take the water out of play a bit more.
You're hitting away from the water, and you're slightly, the trees there also block the water out, don't they?
Yeah.
So if you were to hit it left, from the left, you'll hit the trees.
Right, perfect drive for Will. I mean, that was straight out the top draw, wasn't it? First shot of the day. I mean, it's not off.
I'd take that one, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, but that's also the thing that we've got to think about here is that when Will turned up here this morning, you know, we arrived here quite early, but he was in the studio just warming up, getting himself ready to go, and this is quite a key thing for someone like Will who is, you know, obviously trying to make a living out of this game. Warming up, getting yourself prepared, even for a video like this, is so important. So when he comes off that first tee shot, he's raring to go. So he's kind of maxing out already. He gets on the golf course. He's probably because it's a little bit colder, he's maybe lost 5 or 6 yards off his tee shot. But I mean, that's quite an important part, isn't it, of getting yourself ready to go before you even get out on the golf course.
Even like just hitting 10 balls is so much better than hitting none. Like, you don't want to get onto the first tee stiff as anything. You just hit it down the middle. Yeah. You're losing distance. You're losing. Obviously, you won't know where the face is either because you haven't hit any balls. Something I want to know about from you though is, like, I'm a big confidence player. So someone who, as soon as I hit a good shot, I'm like, that's it, that's my day kind of set up really. If I hit a bad shot, I'm always kind of like fighting. Are you kind of like that player as well, or are you, because I mean you've hit a good shot off the first, so is that set you up for the day, or is that kind of, is it just something that you're just getting yourself ready for? I'm trying to learn to really hit one shot at a time these days, so I haven't really thought about the drive as much. It's down the middle, that's all I care about now. I'm not worried. Yeah, I'm not worried about, okay, I've knotted it, I'm down the middle and
is that
can go for the second
kind of
shot.
Gone now? So what I mean is that, like, you've hit that shot, that's just gone in the past. I'm not going to think about that shot again. I'm just going to now focus on what's happening moving forward.
Definitely, yeah, 100%.
What have we got in here now?
So I've got 203 yards. Yeah. Obviously, water's on the left.
Okay.
The pin's pretty central. There's a bunker that I'm not even going to say is in play because I'm not going anywhere near that. And if I do go near that, I'd bring some water into play.
So at what stage are you thinking about the water? Have we gone beyond that point where you're sort of like, it's now out of your sort of peripheral, shall we say? Are you kind of like, is it in the back of your mind, or are you kind of getting rid of it? Not really, no. So I'm going to aim, I'm not even going to aim at the green, I'm going at more the fringe on the right hand side. Yeah, because there's a lot of green, there's a lot of like rough area to the right of this green, so you're going to try and draw it, especially with the shape of the slope of the contour of the fairway. It naturally wants to pull you around from right to left, doesn't it?
Even if I hit it right at the green, I'm pretty happy because it's an easy up and down. Okay. Whereas if you go left, you're dead.
And what club have you got?
I've got 5 iron.
Okay, and that should get you there or thereabouts?
Yeah.
Shot, a little bit heavy, started in the middle of the green. That's got into the bunker up there on the left-hand side. That's not a bad place to finish though, Will.
I'd say that was a poor shot because I'm trying to take that out of play. Yeah. So that's a bad shot for me.
You just caught it a fraction heavy. Yeah. You just caught it a fraction heavy, which has then possibly just turned it over a little bit, but it still got past all the major trouble, the major water part at the front, and he's got it into that trap just down there. So that's okay. That's okay. Just wandering down to grab Will's ball, and I want you to think about this from your point of view. 200 yards away, Will's hitting a 5-iron. For you guys, it might be woods. For me, it would certainly be more of a hybrid or a 7-wood down into that hole. Now, water left, trouble right, you've got to think about it a little bit more. Instead of just pulling your wood out and going for it because strokes gain tells you to get as close as you possibly can, you have to put yourself into a position where you can still score. We're talking about reducing handicap, course management, things like that. If you get yourself into a position where you've got a wedge number, so it might be like 80 yards might be your number, take the water out of play, get yourself into a position where you can wedge it close and still make your birdie. Ball located, nicely, it caught the bunker, didn't it? So a decent position, Will. Let's just have a quick look down here. So we can see that Will wasn't massively far away from actually being on a decent place here, but far enough away from being in the water. Now, what's your kind of thought process here, Will?
So as you can see, the flag's quite close to us, so it's really short-sided. Yeah. And just behind the flag is actually a slope. It all slopes to the back of the green. Yeah. So my plan is from here to try and actually finish short of the flag. Okay, so you're looking to try and get yourself into a position where you're landing it in the fringe? Yeah, in the fringe or around this sort of mark. So I'm giving myself quite a generous area because I don't think it's going to run out that much when it's going to go to a nice
And your biggest
distance.
Concern is this ridge that runs across the green here. This green pitches from front to back, which is a little bit different to a lot of the greens out on this golf course, but it is something to be mindful in a par 5 where you're coming in with all sorts of clubs. But so if I finish short of the hole, I've got like 10 foot of green Yeah.
But if I finish past this mark,
yes,
it's all downhill. So I've only got 3 foot. That's my distance.
Okay, and anything landing on the front part there, on that fringe part there,
kick it forward a little bit. It
should kick it forward because it is on a bit of a downslope, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's slightly into wind, what's going to help me slightly. So.
Okay, well let's give it a go. Okay, he's up a slight upslope, so it should help him a little bit, get a little bit more stop on the ball, get the ball up in the air a bit quicker, come down a bit softer. That's nice, Will. That did dig in. It did dig in quite nicely, didn't it? But coming from maybe that slight upslope, it's probably enabled you to stop it just that little bit quicker.
I kept the loft on the club quite a lot, so it's got a bit more spin than if you'd have dug in a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. I like that play though. You've left yourself a nice straightforward birdie putt. So you can see there with Will, he's always thinking, again, he's thinking about where he's going to be putting from, which I think is really, really important. This is where possibly the average golfer or amateur golfers tend to start to think about the shot rather than where they want to be playing their next shot from. Always thinking about it almost in reverse, which is quite common for lots and lots of these good players to try and do that.
So I've got it right edge.
Yeah, it's slightly downhill, isn't it? Slightly downhill and just off the right side, perfect. Very good.
Thank you.
So, I would say that was pretty stress-free, wasn't it? To a degree.
Yeah.
I mean, your bunker play obviously you're a good bunker player, so it's a pretty stress-free birdie.
That was the toughest shot out of all 4 that I've hit.
Yeah.
Because it's just so short-sided off and up, so you can leave it in there, or you can catch the ball, catch it a bit clean, and you finish over the back.
Yeah.
So that was the shot that you want to take the most time about, because you're closest to the green. That's where your scoring shots are. And
for a player like Will, who has got a serious amount of length about him off the tee, and certainly with his second shots into the green, he needs to take advantage of this par 5. It's the only par 5 on the golf course, so he needs to try and secure a birdie on this hole. And for lots of tour players and very good players, you'll see them capitalise on par 5s all the time, because they're just long par 4s for guys like Will. When you're coming in with an iron for your second shot, you know, it's a pretty straightforward hole at his skill set. Okay, 17th hole here at Torquay. Off this back tee, we've been given permission today to come off the back tee. It's 315 yards right off this tip here, but we've set Will up a little bit of a trickier situation from the tee. If you look here now, we've set him up at the back, but we've set him up on the left side of this tee, because the wind is off the left, and then he's got this big tree to deal with here. And I've kind of set it up because it's quite a straightforward hole for someone like Will, to be honest with you. It's pretty straight up though. There is a little bit of trouble that he needs to have a think about, and we'll talk to him about that in a minute. But I just want to see how he's going to deal with this situation where he's got wind off the left, tree in his way, and this is kind of a common situation that you'd find on a golf course with lots and lots of players that maybe fade the ball a lot. They have to start it further left to be able to deal with the situation. Straight away, my thoughts are on this hole would be, where's the flag? Yeah. Because that'll make a massive difference. If it's on the left-hand side, I don't mind hitting driver out the right, because I'm just chipping it up with lots of green to work with. Yeah. Same as the par 5 as well. But we don't know where the flag is, so I've got 2 options on this hole, and that's either hit driver and try and draw it round, or go over the tree, or it'd be laying up to good yardage.
3 options.
2. No, 2 options. I've got driver, or I've got...
Yeah. So, okay, so yes, there's bunkers down there. Yeah. So what's your thought process? Because at the end of the day, there's only one bunker in the short part of the fairway that you have to deal with, which is you're going to hit driver and get way over that. I mean, you could hit 3-wood over that. The average golfer, handicap golfer, they're going to have to deal with that bunker, aren't they? Yeah. Wind's kicking them out of bounds up the left, wind's kicking them to the right. They would have to think about that, and it's something that, you know, you'd have to sort of take into consideration when you're trying to play this hole.
I'd say almost once again, if I was a 10, 11 handicap, the trouble is that conifer again. Yeah. That is the main spot. That's where they're hitting it, because they're going to start it right. So the wind's not going to bring it back, and it's going to go towards that conifer.
So how are you going to play it?
So I'm going to hit driver.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try and aim straight at that greenside bunker,
The one on the right side of it?
Yeah, and try and turn it over slightly.
Okay, let's go with it.
I think that's the play, because there's a lot of room everywhere around here. If I finish right,
yeah,
there's just trees over there, they're quite, and you can just chip underneath and it's not too bad.
Wind just wanting to buffer it to the right hand side. It's leaking out there, but I think it should be okay, Will.
Yeah, it wasn't quite the strike I was looking for.
It was a little bit on the heel.
Yeah, but I'd say that I was in an okay position.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Well, we'll see when we get up there. So just walking up, you can see Will already thinking about where's the flag, how can I position this tee shot into a place where I can get myself into a position, get up and down as easy as possible. Now, Will's saying that he didn't know where the pin was there. In a competition, what you can do is, as you're walking around the golf course, just be aware of where pins are on greens as you walk past them. On this hole, which is 17, the first runs down past it. Now, as you tee off the first, it's something you could be aware of. Get yourself ahead of the game. Get yourself into positions where you can start to just mark out or make a mental note of where those pins are as you walk past them around the golf course. Will's hopefully put himself into a position where he's got a good opportunity to get up and down. It's 315 yards. Again, he needs to be aggressive if he's going to score well and pick up the money. Right, ball located.
Yeah.
Is this where you would want to put yourself? Because obviously you're a scratch golfer. What would you have been doing here, Bernie?
No, I mean, me personally, I'd got, you know, as we know, I've got a few issues with this type of shot.
Yeah.
Sort of halfway between a sort of a chip shot and a pitch shot for me. So there's no way I'd want to be here.
No, okay.
I would be laying.
You'd be putting yourself back
off the tee where you set the tee up.
Yeah.
I would have probably hit 2-iron out right and tried to draw it into the fairway, leave myself a fullest shot in.
Okay.
Mainly because I don't think I'd have carried the top of those trees. My driver moved slightly left to right. It wouldn't have been a shot for my driver.
So any opportunity that you can put yourself with a full shot, that's where you start feeling a little bit more comfortable.
Correct.
And that's a good idea for lots of players out there who do suffer with maybe a bit of short game.
That's one of the reasons I struggle a little bit playing foursomes with people.
Yeah.
If I was playing an individual event, I tend not to leave myself very few 40-50 yard shots.
Yeah.
I'd be either getting it close enough that I've got sort of 5-6 yard chip shot, or I'd be back for 80-90 yards, which I feel comfortable with. Okay,
Will, are you happy here? I mean, you've got a little bit of tree trouble.
It's not the best, to be honest, but it's not the end of the world. I've been up there and it's quite firm short of the flag, so if I pitch it short, it's not going to.
Yeah, the green is pitched a little bit towards you from back to front.
Yeah.
So it should stop pretty quickly if you can get control of the ball.
I'm thinking more fringe and rough. So a lot of, like, I'd say amateur golfers or like golfers won't go up there, so they'll pick a shot out like a chip and run.
Yeah.
But they won't go up to the area to have a look at the area, because you think it could be boggy there, they're going to bump and run it, it could just plug straight away.
Yeah.
I've got 45 yards to the flag and I've got 39 yards to the fringe.
Okay. So are you concerned about this tree in front of you a little bit?
I'm going underneath it.
Okay, and what club are you using?
50 degree.
50 degree.
Yeah, so I'm going to pitch it just in the rough, just shy of the fringe, so about 38 yards.
Okay, let's go with it then.
Just going to make sure my sternum's in front of the ball so it keeps it low and doesn't pop it up.
Yeah.
So it was pretty close to being good, wasn't it?
It wasn't far away. I mean, you landed it pretty much where you wanted to land it, didn't you?
Yeah, maybe a couple of paces too far.
And what do you think made it kind of skip on a little bit from there?
I played it pretty low.
Yeah.
So I played it, so that 50 degree wasn't, the loft wasn't a 50 degree, it was more like a pitcher wedge, or maybe a 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
But again, you were just a bit nervous about that tree. You didn't want to clip one of the limbs of the tree, did you? So,
but I'd have taken the result every time, to be honest.
And again, you know, it's an outside chance of a birdie, but you made sure you got it up onto the green, didn't you?
Yeah.
You know, instead of trying to play those floaty ones where you could clip the tree or come up way short and then you're chipping again, you made sure that you got yourself into a position where you were at least putting.
Yeah, so once again, as you see, the pin's on the left-hand side, so long is better than short, so there's more green to work with.
Slightly downhill, Will.
Yeah, so straight away I can see it's downhill off the right, so I'm going to hit it with pace where it goes past the hole, because I don't want to leave myself a 3-footer down the hill.
No, you want to make sure you get it past, so at least you can read the putt as it goes past the hole as well.
Yeah, and I'd prefer a 3-footer up the hill than a 3-footer down the hill.
Yeah. That's pretty good, Wilbur.
A bit shy of pace.
It was a little bit, wasn't it? I mean, it wasn't going to struggle getting there, was it? But
no,
that was.
It's a par where a lot of people could have dropped a shot there in that position.
Absolutely. I mean, it's actually a very straightforward hole, isn't it? But a day like today, where I put that tee position, where you've got the wind howling off the left-hand side off the tee, you know, out of bounds down the left, it's not an easy shot.
No, definitely not.
It's a hole that can really catch you out, and I know it's a hole that the club have worked on over the years to try and improve or make a little bit more of a challenge, which that definitely is.
Yeah, as once again, so I don't mind missing it right here, whereas other people might mind it.
Yeah.
So I'd say that was my miss. I've played to my miss.
What you got, Wilbur?
I've got 152 to the flag, and then I've got 163 to over the back of the green. So the pin's quite far back here, so...
Yeah, and the problem you've got here is if you just go past this pin here, you've got a massive slope. So yes, there's occasions where you might be able to use that slope to your advantage and bring the ball round, but a day like today, in the summertime, that might be the case. You might be able to bring it off that slope, but with the greens being a little bit wet, a little bit slow, that ball's not going to necessarily trickle back down towards the flag. So for this position here, Will, you need to be making sure you put yourself below the hole.
I'm looking at middle of the green, so I've picked out my number for the flag, and I'm going to take 4 yards off of that, and that's my number.
Perfect.
9 iron. Yeah. So I've got it wind just off the right, so I'm going to play it 148-ish.
So again, something I wanted to mention to you after watching Will hit that shot there, again, think about where you want your next shot to kind of come from. That's kind of the theme that's kind of going on here today. But with Will there, if he was to attack that pin with that pin being right at the back of the green like that, it only needs to have a little bit of a skip forward, and he's over the back, and he's now completely short-sided. You'll see it when we get up here, but completely short-sided himself, where he's really then making bogey, because you get yourself into short-sided positions where you're landing on downslopes, running away from you. It just makes life a lot harder. You've got to start thinking about this game almost plotting, like a game of chess. Just plot your way around the golf course. It's definitely going to help you score just that little bit better. So good position to leave yourself there, Wilbur. This is this slope that I was talking about just past the pin here, and if you wander up over here, if you get it slightly wrong and you're now leaving yourself up behind this green, a little skip forward, now you've got a down slope running down towards that pin. And again, just something for you to be a little bit mindful of when you're playing those shots. Wilbur could have taken this one as the number and ended up skipping it over the back. Instead, he kind of took that number out of play, left himself 45 yards short of that, and have left himself a nice uphill putt for birdie. Okay, Will, got your number?
So I've got it just outside the left edge.
Yeah.
So I'd say it's quite a holeable putt, to be honest. So it's uphill, not much break in it, and quite a nice distance away, like 20 feet.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give this a nice go at the hole.
Nearly, Wilbur, nearly.
Burnt the edge.
Just burning the edge.
Knee bend.
Was it a little knee bender, Bernie?
Knee bender, yeah, I thought it was good.
Well done.
It's also important to take your time over the short ones. Like I've done it in previous vlogs where it was a bit further away, just rushed it and missed it, and that's a shot lost already. So
with a golf course playing a little bit breezy, like it was today, quite cold, are you quite happy 1 under par for 3 holes that we've played there?
Yeah, so I've missed it, I'd say, in the correct places, bar the par 5 where I was a bit disappointed to go in the bunker. Yeah. So I've still given myself chances.
So what do you think about that then?
It's good just to get a different perspective. Someone who plays golf for a living, that's where he makes his money. We very much make our money in the golf shop, but Will is playing and looking to progress as a player. So it's just good to see and to learn and almost get a bit of an education from Will of how he's thinking about shots, how he's playing shots, and just the depth that he goes into it. I mean, compared to what I think when I'm playing, it's just completely different mindset.
Absolutely, but one of the things that's been coming from the video that I did with Lee on this type of thing was strokes gained. And people saying, well, in strokes gained it says that you should get it as close as you possibly can, but we have to think about the skill sets here, and also the mental state that a player can put themselves in. If Will had put himself in the water on that par 5, like, he's a good enough player that he can cope with that situation and he could evaluate that risk, whereas a lot of players would actually lose the plot a little bit with that, wouldn't they? First shot of the first hole of the day, you're going to start to see maybe a little bit of a mental breakdown.
I mean, Will's renowned is a renowned good short game, hasn't he? I mean, he's a very good putter. So he's given it, by hitting him close to the green, he's given himself the optimal position of getting a birdie. Whereas, other players play to your strength. If your strength is chipping and putting, then get the ball as close to the green as possible.
Absolutely right. Couldn't agree more. Well, there you go. There's a little insight into how Will plays around a golf course and how he sort of starts to plot his way around. I think there's a lot to be able to take from that, and I'd like to hear your comments down below, talking to us about strokes gained, things like that. I think there's lots that we can take from that little video. Don't forget, if you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up if you like what we're doing, and we'll look forward to catching up with you again soon.